Welcome, each and every one of you. We are very, very excited that you've joined this particular coaching session. This broadcast that you're seeing right now is going to cover some pretty important information. If you are wondering why some people make more money in a single month than it takes others in an entire year to make, we're going to cover that. You're going to get those answers today. You're going to learn what I call discover what the wealthy know. We're going to be sharing that with you as well. We're also going to be sharing with you certain elements that I call the art of the launch that'll help you to boost your business and get off to a very, very fast start. It took me many, many years to learn the things that you're learning today. What I'd like to do is take 30 seconds and just give you a quick snapshot into my personal and professional background. My wife and I we met and fell in love at the age of 16, been together ever since, kind of grew up together, graduating high school, moving into college. We have multiple degrees. We both have our doctorate degrees, moving from there into corporate America. My wife is a CPA, me as a finance director for an investment corporation. Both of us earning strong six-figure incomes and leading a productive, happy life. And after 13 years of marriage, we decided to start a family. Folks, let me tell you, that's when everything changed for us, because when the birth of our two children, we just didn't have the time that we wanted to spend with our family because of our busy corporate schedule. So our kids became the first ones dropped off and the last ones picked up. And as Christians, we knew this is not the way that God wants us to raise our family. So we began to think, well, how could we raise our family in the fashion that we wanted to without sacrificing the very family that we had in order to do so? So after a lot of prayer, a lot of fasting, we were introduced to the industry of networking and working from home. And I got to tell you, we didn't have any experience in this arena whatsoever. We met the people, they seemed nice, they showed us the platform, it made a whole lot of sense. But when I saw the part about the money, I felt like this was an answer to prayer. So we joined. We didn't have any experience whatsoever at all doing this. We had really good coaches and teachers and mentors that grabbed us by the hand and just walked us step by step toward our goals. In our first couple of months, just following what they said, we received checks with a comma in it. I mean, that was pretty cool. And within about 6 months' time, we were able to retire from corporate America and work exclusively from home. That's been really, really nice. In a little less than 2 years, we were able to earn a six-figure income, folks, per month. And that's a seven-figure annual income. And it really changed our entire lives. But more importantly, we were able to help tens of thousands of people dramatically improve their personal situation, completely change their lifestyle. For many of them, was the most money they've ever earned in their entire life. Now, what I learned in the process of doing this, we're going to be sharing with you on this broadcast today. Now, I'm going to dispel a few myths. I'm going to be giving you some nuggets. I'm going to be sharing some insider secrets. I'm going to be giving you the information today on this broadcast that, if you apply it, will help you tremendously. Or you can sit around and say, well, I don't understand why he said that, and I don't know if that part's true. And I understand that. And that's why some folks just blow by and make so much income just simply following instructions. So I hope that you are able to humble yourself and say, okay, let me just apply myself to what I'm learning. The first thing that I want to cover today is I want to be able to share with you what the rich teach their children that the poor and middle class don't. I know that's a powerful statement. I also want to share with you why some people make more money in a single month than it takes others, more money in a month than it takes others a whole year to earn. And I want to just share with you what the wealthy know. I call it discover what the wealthy know. So I took, after many, many years of experience, I took all that I had learned. I talk about my first mentor often because here I was with all these college degrees and a big corporate title and wearing $400 ties, Rolex watches, Mont Blanc pens, and leading that corporate lifestyle, right? Big shot, thinking I was too cute to do something like networking, right? And I went to an event and I saw this guy, and he talked kind of country. I don't know how else to say that, but he wasn't like super articulate. And I also noticed that he just, wasn't what you would think when you think about a huge industry earner. But when he introduced himself, he said, I made $6 million in the last 2 years. And I just sat there for a moment and I digested that. And I thought, wow, I didn't make $6 million in the last 2 years. And here I am thinking I'm all super impressive. So I just started listening to what he said. And the first thing he said is that he went to his high school senior prom twice. And I kind of figured out after a while thinking about that, he was saying in a nice way that he failed the 12th grade. I say all that to say that it doesn't matter what you come to the table with or what your background is. If you simply follow certain things, you will achieve success, just simply following it. So I've learned a lot from that particular mentor and other mentors that I've had along the way, through many coaching sessions, many books I've read, and all those sorts of things. And I put all of that information into a video. Now, the reason I put it into a 4-minute video is because I wanted it to be able to share it with people, but I wanted to share it with people in such a fashion that you can go back and look at this anytime, that it doesn't necessarily, you can show it before a presentation, but it lets people know that why the industry is so powerful. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen. And in sharing my screen, what I would like to do is share this video that I made with you called Discover What the Wealthy Know. And it's going to teach you, I want you to watch in this video why some people make more money in a single month than it takes others an entire year to make. I'm also going to share with you what the rich teach their children that the poor middle class don't. And I'm also going to be sharing with you, and you're going to learn today in 4 minutes, you're going to discover what the wealthy know. I'm also going to be giving you this video as a tool that you can share with other people to dispel some of the myths associated with the industry of networking. So without any further ado, take a look at this and we'll resume in just a moment.
Now it's time to discover what the wealthy know, what the rich teach their children that the poor and middle class do not. First, let's talk about the definition of being rich. Rich can be described as when your passive income is more than your living expenses. Passive income is defined as money earned outside of working your job. Let's look at the corporate structure of the average job. At the top, there's a CEO, who makes more money than the president, who makes more money than the vice president, who makes more money than the middle managers and supervisors. In that big area there are the people that typically do all the work, the employees and staff. The employees and staff often feel controlled and held captive by a clock. They have a certain time to come into work and a certain time to get off. There's a certain time to go to lunch and a certain time they'd better be back. You'll continue to do this sometimes for the next 20 to 40 years. Then, that special day comes when you get to retire. Then you live off half the income that you were earning while an employee. This is the structure by which most people are living their lives. Typically, when you begin a job, you start at the bottom and work your way up the corporate ladder. You're coming in early, working through lunch and staying late, shooting for that big promotion. You are working your way from the bottom to the what? Most people are working their way to the middle. Rarely does the employee who started at the bottom work their way to be the CEO. Given the choice between the bottom, the middle, or the top, which one do you think makes the most money? Obviously, it's the CEO. The CEO gets paid from other people's efforts. The CEO is the one in this structure that has the most leverage. Leverage can be described as working less while earning more. Now let's examine the structure of every income earning situation that falls into 4 separate categories. First, let's examine how employees and self-employed people earn. Their income depends completely on their own efforts. What's wrong with that? If they are not working, they don't get paid. There is only 24 hours in a day, so their income is automatically limited. Next, let's examine how the richest people in the world earn their income. They are business owners. The reason they earn so much is they get paid on other people's efforts. The smartest way to earn money is to own your own business. Being an investor is another way to earn money. What works for investors? Money. Typically, if you don't have any money, you won't be a very good investor. We want to show you why it's important if you are an employee or self-employed person to own a business and have leverage. This can all begin for the price of a cell phone. Instead of always starting at the bottom and working your way to the top, consider starting at the top. Be your own CEO, which comes with leverage. Remember, leverage is working less while earning more. John D. Rockefeller, multimillionaire, said, I would rather earn 1% of my income from 100 of other people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. Now let's discuss how most employees get paid. Consider the average employee who gets paid for working 8 hours per day for 5 days per week. That's 40 hours per week, 160 hours per month, 1,920 hours per year. What if that same employee had leverage from 10 other people working 40 hours per week? They would earn from 400 hours per week. What would happen if those same 10 people built a team of 10 people each? That's 100 people. Now, let's compare the average employee earning from their own 40 hours per week to the production of 100 people just working 1 hour per day. That is earning 40 hours compared to 500 hours per week. Now you can understand how some people earn more money per month than some earn all year. It all has to do with leverage. Suppose your boss came to you and announced a new way of doing business. The company wants to raise profitability, cut costs, and pay you more. Instead of coming into work, you can do it all from home. They are so positive this is a better way that they want you to find other people who want to work from home. The company will pay you a percentage of what they earn for finding them. This will offer you true leverage. Let's take it a step further. What if there was no boss? What if you were the boss? We are talking about earning a serious income from word of mouth. Networking has proven itself to be a rewarding and viable source of income, says so many experts. Now, you have discovered what the wealthy know.
Wasn't that powerful? There was so much to unpack in that short video. Let me tell you, folks, years and years of learning, understanding, breakthrough discoveries have been put inside of that one video. That lets people know that networking and learning this skill, which we teach, is just so very valuable. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be sharing with you over the next week or so, for the next time period, how to utilize that video to overcome some objections before you even get them. This is very important. But what I want to talk to you about right now is how do you begin in a pre-launch phase to set yourself up for success. Now, I've talked to you very specifically about just following where we're going. So here's what I want you to do. And I'm going to say this every time I coach, every time I teach. We want you to have a designated notebook with a writing utensil that you can begin to take notes every time we do a coaching session, because each of these coaching sessions will always build one upon the other, right? So now that you're taking notes, I'd like for you to title this The Art of the Launch. Now, let me tell you why I call this The Art of the Launch, because when I first joined the industry, I would come in and just work hard and call folks and do what I thought to do. And then I always saw certain leaders that came into companies and were able to put in hundreds, even thousands of people very fast. How did they do that? Well, there's a systematic way, I call it a recipe, a systematic way that you begin an activity. And we're going to be talking about the first few steps of that recipe on today's coaching session. Now, just like following a recipe, if you break out a recipe and you're going to make chicken parmesan, or you were going to make a meal, or bake a cake, or whatever the recipe would call for, keep in mind, when the recipe was prepared, it doesn't matter about your background, whether you went to college, whether you're a good student, whether you're smart, stupid, dumb, fat, tall, skinny. It doesn't matter who you are, just follow the recipe. So the recipe that I'm going to be giving you is not in question. The recipe works. We've used it time and time again. We joined a company, put in 50 to 100 people in a couple of days. We put in thousands and thousands of people in a matter of a couple of months. How does a person do that? How can that possibly happen? You're going to learn that today. Now, when I start talking about the different steps of this recipe, I really want you to write down these steps and adhere to it. Adhere to it. Really say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow these steps of this recipe and watch what happens. Okay. All right. Number one in this pre-launching coaching session, where I'm giving you these insider secrets for free. I mean, I'm just literally telling you exactly what to do to create an explosion. Okay. Now, I talked about this recently with a small group, and I just gave them kind of a sneak peek on what it is. But today we're going to be just diving into it in depth, in great detail, in discussing it, such that you're really able to retain the information and understand why the information was put together. I don't have any notes. I don't have any, I'm not reading from a list of bullet points. This is up here. This is, we've learned this over the years, digested it from the masters and giving it to you right here, right now. So number one, before I give you number one, I want to talk a little bit and kind of lead into it. But it's all about how you have to raise capital. That's number one. You have to raise capital. But let me talk a little bit about this. In any business endeavor, let's say you were going to open a muffler shop, a restaurant, you were going to run for a political office, you were going to found a church, you were going to start a university, you were going to do any major business endeavor, period. First thing you got to do is raise capital. You have to. You want to run for office, you got to have some fundraisers. You got to start raising some capital. You want to start a business, where's your business plan? The business plan is to help you get some capital. You have to raise capital, folks, in order to kick off any business endeavor. And your business endeavor that we're kicking off right now during this pre-launch, it's no different. You've got to raise some capital. Well, here's the beauty of it all. When we're talking about raising capital, whether you're going public, whether you're founding a church, whether you're opening a university, opening a restaurant, opening a business, any major endeavor, anyone. When you raise capital in traditional business, capital means you need money. You need money to start a business. You need money to run for office. You need money to found a church. You need money. And with traditional business, what do? They get investors. They go to venture capitalists. They have fundraisers. They do all sorts of things to raise capital, to raise money. And let me tell you something, folks. When you're raising money, when you're getting donations, when you're getting investors, every single dollar counts. Every dollar, every quarter, every nickel, every dime, every penny. Every single one of those little donations, those pennies, those dollars, those nickels, those dimes, those quarters, every one of them adds up to help you kick off your campaign, to launch your business endeavor, to open that church, to found that university, whatever it might be, to go public, whatever it might be, right? Well, in networking, it's no different, folks. You've got to raise capital. But in networking, the capital is people, not money. People. People are capital when you're a networker, period. Now, let me just say this. I don't care if you grew up in a telephone booth. I don't care if you were around a whole lot of people. If you grew up in a small town, a big city, it doesn't matter. Every one of us knows people. The beauty here in networking is the people you know other people you don't know. There's some people that you do. So people is what's required here to raise capital. Now, what I'm getting ready to tell you, what I'm getting ready to show you, some insider secrets here, how you're going to raise capital over the next 30, 60, 90 days, is going to determine how successful you are. But I'm going to ask you to remove the barriers of how you think. Remove the barriers of what you think is going to happen and follow the recipe. Number one on your list today should be raise capital. Under that footnote of how to raise capital, please notate that in traditional business, capital is money. In networking, capital is people. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to make a list of callable names. And when I say callable names, we might not even call all of them, but they're people you could actually call. They exist. They're alive, they're breathing, they're actual people that you can call. So let's start out with the list of 25 callable names. I want you to write a list of 25 callable names. Let me tell you where they are, right here in your cell phone. That's where they are. Don't you think about what they'll say, because I can promise you 100% accuracy what they're going to say when we show this to them. Yes, no, or maybe. How do I know? Because there's no other answer. That's the only answer. We don't care about the yeses. We don't care about the nos. We don't care about the maybes. We're going to be married to the process and divorced to the results. We're going to be focused on the recipe, the process. We don't care about whether they say yes, no, or maybe. That's up to God, not us. We don't get to determine that. Our job is to share the information. So start with a list of 25 callable names. Write the names down on a sheet of paper in your notebook that you're taking notes right now. Write down 25 callable names. Then I want you to build it from 25 to 50. 50 callable names, people that can actually answer the phone. They're alive, they exist. Then I want you to take that list from 50 to 75. They're already here. You don't have to think about who, they're already there, right? I want you to build that list to 100 callable names. But just start with 25, then go to 50, then go to 75. But you're going to build a list of 100 callable names. Underline that in your notes. Build a list of 100 callable names. That's step number one to the recipe. When people say, James, I followed your recipe and I've only earned $5,000 in my first 45 days. I've only earned $5,000 in my first 60 or 90 days. I'm going to say, take a picture of your 100 callable names and send them to me. I don't want to know who the names are. I just want to see that you really did the work. If you will write a list of 100 callable names, let me tell you what's going to happen. You will be successful because some people on that list are going to say yes. Some are going to say no. Some are going to say maybe. We're going to work with the ones that say yes. We're going to thank the ones that say no and ask for a referral. We're going to check back and follow up and keep them posted to our results that we have with the people that say maybe and ask for a referral. Simple process. It makes sense. Out of 100 callable names, you'll be surprised how many say yes right away. You know why? They were thinking, praying, looking for something just like this when you brought it to them. But you think, oh, no, they wouldn't want this. You don't know what people are praying for. You don't know where they are. You don't know. So number one, build a list of 100 callable names. Underline this. Underline this. Build a list of 100 callable names. Pretty easy, huh? I mean, pretty easy. Believe it or not, 50% of the people that are on this line right now won't do it. But they'll call me and say, you know, I'm not having the results that I want to have, or, you know, I can't seem to, you know, it just didn't work for me. No, it works for every single person that'll do it. It's the recipe. Crack 3 eggs, add the flour, put this much. It's just a recipe that works 100% of the time, 100% of the time, 100% of the time. Can you build a list of 25 names and take it to 75? When you look at that list of 25, ask yourself, who do you and those people know together? I used to work with this lady and we used to go to lunch with these people right there, add them to the list. This is my cousin. Who do we both know together? Oh, wow, I used to go over their house and we used to write their name. Build that list from 25 to 50 to 75 to 100. I know you think you're cool. I know that you think you got it going on. You're cute. You're too cute to build a list of 100 callable names. But if you'll do that, maybe you've done it before. It doesn't matter. Build a list of 100 callable names. Step one in the recipe. Step two. This is going to seem so easy, but I'm asking you to do this with all of your might. Step number two is you have to believe that you will be successful. You're going to have to believe that over the next 90 days, you will be successful with 100% certainty. You got to believe it. You got to know it. Now, you don't have to know how. You just have to know for a fact, I'm going to be successful. This is going to work. Yes, indeed, man. It's just going to happen. I'm going to follow this recipe to a T and watch what happens. You got to believe. You got to believe. You got to believe. You got to believe. You got to believe that you're going to be successful, even if you don't see results right away. Have you ever watched a sporting event and after the first quarter, your team is down 2 touchdowns or down, 15 points, and you're down at halftime by 2 touchdowns, 14 points, but at the end of the game, you came back and you won. Teams that do that, teams that come back and win, teams that win when they were down at halftime or down in the third quarter and still win, that's because they believed all along. Doesn't matter what it looks like. And you hear me say, don't believe what you see, but see what you believe. If you can just believe that you'll be successful, don't think to yourself, well, I don't know. I'm gonna, you got to believe. You got to believe, and you don't have to know how. If you're gonna drive to the airport to pick up somebody, you don't know if all the lights are going to be green. You just go. And guess what? You get there. Some are green, some are not. It works out. But you believe that you're going to make it to the airport when you go. You don't know if all the lights are going to be. You don't know how traffic's going to be. We don't have to know how it's going to happen. You just have to know that it's going to happen. Whoa, this is good stuff, y'all. This is good stuff. Make a list of 100 callable names. You got to believe. Here's what I want you to do. Once you get your list of 100 callable names, I want you to look at that list. I want you to ask yourself, who could you call at 2 o'clock in the morning with a flat tire and they would get up and help you? Identify, put an A by those people's names. Who could you call at 2 o'clock in the morning? They would get up out of their bed and help you because you had a flat tire, you were stranded somewhere. That's going to be a certain segment of that list. Look at that list and put an A by those people's names, by the way. Put an A by those people's names. And then go through the whole list and ask yourself, would they come get me? Would they? And put an A by certain people's names. Then go through that whole list and put a B by those people's names that are business-minded. This is not somebody that's a fry cook at Wendy's. No offense to fry cooks, but this is somebody that would recognize a good business if they saw it. You're going to go by and put a B by those people's names. You know, A was the first category. Put a B by the other people's names. You're going to go through that list and put a C by the people's names that have a large sphere of influence. People listen to them. A large sphere of influence. They could point their finger and everybody would go. Put a C by their name. So you got your A's by some names, your B, and you put your C's by some. You're gonna put a D by everybody's name that are people on that list. They're outgoing people. They're storytellers, joke tellers, life of the party. They love people. People love them. They walk in the room and light it up. You know who I'm talking about. Put a letter by them. Put a letter by the E by people on that list who love to travel. They're outgoing, they go places, they've been places, and put an F by people on that list that even they know that they're better than their current circumstance. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they're just recovering from a sickness. Maybe they've been at the same job for 30 years. They know they want more out of life. Whatever it is, even they know they're better than their current circumstance. So now you got this list of A, B, C, D, E, and put a star by people on that list that are outside of your normal local vicinity, your locality. You can't just get in your car and go see them. They're in a different state or across country or someplace. Those are the easiest people to share what we're going to be doing with. So now you got this list, and we're going to be segmenting the people that have 5 letters, 6 letters, 4 letters, 3 letters, and we're going to approach this list in a very systematic way, right? So you've got your list. We've qualified your list. You believe you're going to be successful, even if you don't see results right away. What we're going to be doing in the upcoming week is we are going to be picking your top 15 to 20 people and inviting them to a private business session where I'm going to do a business overview for just your top 20 people. Now, the 25 people that you'll invite, only about 10 or 12 are going to show up. I don't care what they tell you. If they all tell you I'll be there for sure, for some reason their cat needs braces or something happens or they got to go do this or do that or whatever it is, it's only about 10 or 12 a show. Of those 10 or 12, we're going to present the business opportunity. And we do that, you'll be able to bring in your starting 5. I know what I'm talking about. Make that list, qualify it, believe you're going to be successful. Set up your private business launch in the upcoming week. With me, I'll do all the work. You just bring your people and show up, and I'll get you your starting 5. Man, this is fun. So over the next, let's say, 2 weeks, we're going to be pre-launching, 2-3 weeks. We're going to be putting in anywhere from 300 to 400 people. So this is going to be pre-launch 300. We're going to title this effort, this mission we're doing, is called Pre-Launch 300. Man, that sounds good. You know, I probably should have made it higher, but here's what I'm going to do. I might stretch that to be a little bit more, and that's just during the pre-launch, folks. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm calling all gold diggers. I want you to be a gold digger. I want you to start digging into the corner of your mind, and I want you to come up with a goal that you want to accomplish over the next 2 to 3 weeks. a goal of how many people you want to bring in the next 2 to 3 weeks. What's your goal? See, so many times people don't hit their goal. And believe it or not, it's not because they tried really hard and they just didn't hit it. Most people don't hit their goal because they didn't have one, didn't have a goal to hit. It's hard to hit something that doesn't exist. So I want you right now at the top of your page to put down the number of people that you would like to bring aboard in your team, not your personal people that you enrolled. What if you pick the goal of this many? What is their goal during the pre-launch? And their people, what's their goal in the pre-launch? And their goal in the pre-launch. So you have to consider not just your personal goals, but those people that you have a goal of bringing in, what's their goal? And those people's goal. Whatever that goal is, I want you to put that at the top of this page. That's your pre-launch goal over the next 2 to 3 weeks. See, if I can help you get your starting 5 and work with them, help them pick their goal out, work with them, help them pick their goal out, even though your goal personal goal might just, I hope you bring in 25 people. But those 25 people, you might have some real superstars in there, 1 or 2 that have a goal of 25 people, and they may have a goal of 25 who may have a goal of 25. Next thing you know, in your pre-launch goal, next 2 or 3 weeks, you up and hit 90 people, but you only had a goal of 25. So I want you to think about what that goal is, whatever it is, make it realistic. Over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're not going to put in 2.2 million people. You're not. Make it realistic, okay? But make it something you have to stretch to hit. What's your pre-launch goal? I'm going to call you up, get your goal, check and see if you got your list, make sure that you believe. And I'm going to take all your goals, I'm going to add them up, and we're going to put that, how much of that pre-launch 300 do you want? How big of a chunk do you want? We're going to open up the pizza box, and you can get you a slice of that 300. How big you slice you want? You want 2 slices? I like, fill my plate up. Even if I don't eat it all, it's already on the plate. I don't have to keep going back. I got 1, 2, 3 slices. So when I sit down, maybe I'm telling too much, but you understand what I'm saying. I get mine, right? I want you to get yours too. Got your list of callable names. You believe and you're going to succeed, even if you don't know how. You've already qualified your list. We talked about how to do that. You already invited people. We're going to be setting up those appointments. The only reason that we only have 1 group overview next week is I got to make room for all of your personal launching sessions that we're going to do. By the way, they take less than 30 minutes, about 20 minutes. Once you invite your people, they're already going to be seeing an overview before they even show up. I'm going to come in and talk about what we're doing and what we're kicking off, and they can get the top positions in your organization, and those top people are going to be sending this much income. We're going to be doing your personal launch session, getting your starting 5 next week. Everybody gets a starting 5 if you'll follow the recipe. Pre-launch 300. Man, I'm excited about that. Ooh, we're breaking it down like a chicken wing today, folks. We're giving you every single thing that you need to succeed during this pre-launching session. So let me just tell you, the pre-launch sets the stage for the launch. So we're setting a goal of 300 people over the next few pre-launching period. So that day number 1 during the launch, we've already started off with however many people we earned in the pre-launch. So you'll be able to tell folks, we just launched on day 1. We got this many people. On day 2 of the official launch, we got this many. On day 3, this many. And that kind of momentum attracts people. Then we'll start identifying those people who hit their first bonus, got their first promotion already by day 2, by day 3, by day 4. You see, some people already have hit their promotions. And this was only day 2 of the pre-launch. We just now starting the pre-launch. There's a systematic recipe of how we do things and why we do things that create the story that you'll be telling for the rest of your career in doing this. So when I tell you that we launched and we hit, over 5,000 people in the first 8 months, following the same recipe. We hit 100 people in 2 days, following the same recipe. You can do it. The money's got to go somewhere. Why not go to you? If you'll follow and believe, just follow and believe. And we're going to help you get your starting 5 next week. Well, this is the pre-launch coaching session where I wanted to establish a few ground rules. Number 1, that you're ready, willing, and able to follow simple instructions. Number 2, that you're going to apply yourself. You're going to show up early and be ready to throw down for your crown. You're not afraid to get paid. We're going to put some respect on your check. We're going to do all those things for you. When you look at that check, we're going to put some paint where it ain't. but you got to follow along. You got to believe. I can't make you do any of this stuff. You got to do it. I can lead you there. I can guide you. I can follow the simple recipe of all of those that are on right now. Some people say, well, I don't know nobody. Yeah, you know people. You do. And you recommend going to a good movie you saw. Oh, well, you got to see this movie, girl. It was so good. See, that's what we're doing, promoting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the same thing. You went to a good restaurant with the Papa Do's, had you just a wonderful meal. Boy, woo! It was so good. You come and tell people, man, hey, you know a good Italian restaurant? You know a good seafood spot? You know a good barbecue place? You know a good place to eat? Yeah, you tell people, oh yeah, you got to go here. It's super good. Where'd you get your hair done? Oh girl, I've been going to such and such for so, that's the same thing we're doing here is promoting. Same thing. Where'd you get those shoes? Man, I like that. Brother, you look sharp. Where you get those shoes from? See, that's the same. And you start talking about that's the same thing we're doing here. We're just promoting. But now you're promoting to satisfy the people that are looking for you. See, there's certain people looking for you. And you don't have to beg nobody to do what you're doing. They're already looking for something. They want to learn something new. They want to follow along. See, here's what I learned a long time ago. You're only going to refer so many people, and they're going to refer so many people who refer so many people. But on that third or fourth level, people you don't know, you're going to run across a superstar. Every single time that I've built every single organization to new heights, was it the people that I personally referred that were the superstars? Every once in a while. Usually somebody I brought in bought somebody else who bought somebody else. And on that third or fourth level there, superstar, independent leader. I don't have to hold their hand, don't have to kick them off the porch, nothing. They know what to do. They already had a boom, they're gone. But if I hadn't bought that person and they bought the other person, they bought the other person, yeah, you understand what I'm saying, right? But this is how it all works. I'm going to be covering certain harvest principles that if you'll follow these principles in life, you'll reap the harvest. I promise you. There's only 4 of them, 4 harvest principles. I'm going to be covering the recruiting rules. That's right. There are rules to recruiting. There are. And I'm going to be covering the building laws. If you follow this law of building a giant organization, you will work. It's kind of like driving a car. You know what I mean when I say driving a car? If you look at the code, the driver's code is a book about this thick, right? But to get your license, you got to learn this much. So we're going to be teaching you those harvest principles, those recruiting rules, those building laws. Like when you're driving a car, there are certain laws, right? You got to put on your blinker before you change lanes. You stop at the red light. You go at the green light. Those are laws. If you don't follow those laws, you get a ticket or an accident, right? But there's also rules. They're not laws, but you ought to follow. Yes, it's a law that you should put your blinker on and when you change lanes or when you're going to turn. That's a law. But it's a rule. Don't just check your mirrors. Look over your shoulder and check that blind spot. That's just a rule. You don't have to follow that. You can look in the mirror and go. But if you know the rules, you'll be safer. You have more success. It's a rule. Don't follow too close to the car in front of you. It's not a law. It's a rule. If you don't follow that rule, you may be, So we're going to be teaching you the principles, the rules, and the laws in upcoming coaching sessions. Now, I don't want to give you too much. I want to give you just enough to digest. We told you what to do to raise capital. We told you how to believe, how to think. Don't worry about how, just worry about what you're going to accomplish. Focus on the goal. We talked about how to qualify that list. We talked about we want you to set an appointment next week with me or your support team leader to do your personal pre-launch session with your personal, help you get your start in 5. I don't want people to say, well, I'm not sure I know 5 people. You do. If you go away from this earth, there's going to be 12 folks that are going to be carrying you that know you. So I'm saying to you folks, everybody knows to start in 5. Everybody does. Everybody does. Maybe not 12, but 6 or whatever. You know what I'm saying. So we've given you enough information for you to go on today. And if you'll just stick with us and follow the yellow brick road, follow, you know the song, follow the yellow brick road, then you will be successful. And by the time I give you all 10 steps, in the art of the launch. You will not only be successful for your organization, but you will take this information that we've learned over the years and apply it to any organization anywhere from now on. And this information we're giving you folks, it ain't free. I'm investing in you, and I want you to invest in yourself to achieve the goals that you want deep, deep in your heart. And the only thing that I ask is after you experience the success, after you make the big, big money, after you get the award, after they place the ring on your finger, after you're in the winner's circle, I just ask that you will pour into somebody else and give them the knowledge, the insight, the inspiration, the motivation, the help that you're getting right now. Give it to them, pay it forward to somebody else. Somebody paid it forward in me. Boy, I sure do appreciate that. Sometimes I wouldn't even listen. Isn't that something? I remember going to people and saying, hey, how can I achieve this much in like a week? How can I put in 2,000 people in like a week? I say, well, you can put in 2,000 people, but it's not going to be in a week. You got to put in some that put in some that put in some. So, okay, I just can't get to the top of the comp plan, the very, very top in like 2 weeks. What if I work, don't sleep at all? They tried to tell me it doesn't work that way. You got to learn and grow, right? So if you'll invest in yourself, if you'll apply yourself, if you'll just believe, if you'll follow the recipe, follow the yellow brick road, you'll achieve some great, great success. Take a moment, breathe in, absorb this information that you've gotten today. Let it sit within you. Look down at your path. Realize that you've got golden nuggets that's been given you today. Aladdin's lamp is in your hand. All you got to do is build a list of 100 callable names. Believe that you're going to be successful. Even if you don't see the results right away, just know within your heart of hearts, this is my time. This is it. I'm about to blast off. I'm getting down from my crown. I'm doing it. I am. Qualify that list. Call me and let's set up your launch next week. Let's get your start in 5. See, for some reason, I ask people to believe, but once they start seeing it, that's when they really believe. Unfortunately, that's not how faith works. Faith asks you to believe first, then you see. Science wants you to see first and then write a conclusion of what you saw, what the experiment said, after you see, then you believe. Anybody can do that. I'm asking you to believe before you see. I'm asking you to believe right now, and according to the power that works within you, according to how you believe, that's how big you'll see. Ooh, this is good. Man, this is good stuff. Wish somebody had told me this during my pre-launch time. It took me a long time to learn all this. Well, that's it. It's time to get down for our crown, put some respect on our check, put some paint where it ain't, and make you really, really proud. So that when you walk a certain way and talk a certain way, people start seeing something different in you, that excitement they're going to see in you, that courage that you have been able to build up to call that pastor, to call that special person, to pique their interest and introduce them to me and your support team leader, and let us share the opportunity. You just piqued their interest and brought us to the folks, because you never know how powerful that is. You just don't know. But let me tell you something, folks. There's a difference between Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Dr. J, all these people that we consider champions in basketball. There's a difference in how they're just playing the same game as everybody else, but it's not always their physical attributes. There's a difference between Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, and these different champions. There's a difference between champions and how they approach something. It's up here. It's what they think and what they believe in here in their heart. It's the same game, the same playing field, the same thing exists for all of us. But champions look at things a little different. And on this particular broadcast, we got champions on the line. Champions. And let me tell you something, the difference between somebody that makes $5,000 a month and the difference between somebody that makes $50,000 a month is not their education. It's not their background, not their speaking abilities, not how they can see, walk, talk. No, it's how they believe. That's the difference between somebody that makes serious money and somebody that just do all right. The do all right people, they believed a little bit. The people that made that serious money, well, they believe wholeheartedly, and they got down. They start thinking there's no limit of what I want for my family, what I can accomplish if I just apply myself. That's who I'd like for you to be. So when we jump off this broadcast, when you finish seeing this right here, I want you to spend some time with that list. I want you to write down 6 things in life right now that you want with all your heart. Start with 3. What are 3 things that you want very badly? Write this down. 3 things that you want very badly. Very badly. Maybe it's a new place to live, a new thing to drive. Maybe it's something different in your relationship. Maybe it's a be able to give and tithe to your church. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is. Maybe you want to lose 40 pounds. You want to put down here and bring it up to here. Maybe you want to get sexy and fine, whatever it is. Write down 3 things that you want very, very badly in your life. 3. And then I want you to double that, make it 6. 6 things that you want really bad. Then I want you to look at that first thing. I want you to describe it in the present tense. What is it? Describe how it looks. I want you to describe it as if it's already here. I want you to look at that thing that you wrote down, that you want, that you really want. I want you to describe it. I want you to start by saying, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then describe it. Now that I've got that 2022 brand new Bentley truck, car, home, house, hairdo, body, whatever it is, church, whatever it is you want, I want you to write it down. And I want you to describe it in the present tense. If you can do that, see, I don't care where you come to me right now. I don't care if you're already super successful in your life or what's your personal circumstance. Everybody wants something. And if you write down what you want and start describing it as if you already got it, I can work with you because you got some goals, some dreams, some desires. We can help you achieve those things. So I've given you an awful lot today. We're going to wrap up this particular session. I'm fired up. I'm going to go out here and do some good today. I'm going to help somebody that believes that they deserve to have what God put here for all of us. See, every single one of us wants to prosper. It's natural to want to be rich. It's natural to want to be successful. The grass don't struggle to grow. It's natural in the course of nature to evolve, to grow, to have more. And God wants you to achieve and experience all that he's put on this planet, in this experience. He wants you to have it. So I'm going to sign off by saying that the harvest is plenty. Abundance is your birthright and greatness is your destiny. Look forward to helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much, folks. We'll be talking very soon.